And lastly, Chris Brown has just been really the Grammys hit him talking about he didn't know who Robert Glasper was and getting a lot of negativity because of that, then apologizing. Robert Glasper capitalizing on it by making shirts for it. That was funny as hell. Shout out to you, Robert. But this past week, Chloe Bailey promoted that she has a single with Chris Brown coming out. And as with pretty much all Chris Brown announcements, the conversation became, he did this to Rihanna. He said this about Kehlani. I don't know if he beat up Frank Ocean or made comments about Frank Ocean, but like Chris Brown has done a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And people really only be focusing on the Rihanna thing and how that was so long ago and he apologized and they were able to make peace. But like he's done bullshit beyond that.
Yeah.
So my stance with the Chris Brown stuff is like, if you don't like him, you are very justified in feeling that way. He's done a lot of fucked up shit. If you're a fan of his, you're very justified in feeling that way. He's a talented ass dude. He's made great timeless music that we fuck with. He's still doing his thing. He's still one of the most called upon artists. But the back and forth between both sides is exhausting because the people who don't like him, you're not going to change the minds of the people who do like him for his music. The people who like him, you're not going to change the minds of people who don't like him for things that he's done personally. I'm a fan of his music. I also understand that he's done fucked up shit. So, like, I'm kind of in the middle where, like, I get both sides. But I just feel like the conversation is, like, it's pointless at this point.
It is.
And the biggest thing is, like, the music industry has clearly, willingly overlooked what he did. Because niggas is still working with him. Drake worked with him. Her is working with him.
Listen.
Chloe about to work with him. Like, pretty much damn near everybody works with him.
Yeah.
So I don't get the point of the conversation at this point.
Because I think, like, for me, it's like, yes, if you hate Chris Brown, then you hate Chris Brown, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But and he has done a series of trash ass things. But I think that people have selective memory all the time. And they pick and choose what they want to make a social issue. Because when No Guidance came out, everyone was singing along. Everybody was singing along. when was it Wild Style, the Normani song, when he was in the video? Take me for a ride.
Yeah.
He was in the video.
Side.
Yeah, Wild Side. When Wild Side came out, he was all in the video. They dancing. Everybody going crazy over the dancing moves. Nobody said, Normani, why are you dancing with him in the video?
I saw some people say that.
I didn't see many.
See some people say that.
You saw some people say that?
Yeah, I did.
That's all right. That's
but at the end of the day,
fair.
like, niggas fuck with the music. So
they
like,
do. Yeah. They're
going to overlook it.
They're going to absolutely, like, overlook it. And I just think that, I mean, there are people out here who, if you're going to have a stance on something, you can have a stance on something. But, like, it's not going to, in the case of Chris Brown, it's not going to stop him from making music.
Yeah.
And I do think Chris Brown is talented. I also do think both things can exist. I think he's talented, and I think that he's exhibited trash behavior.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into an uproar every time he works with a woman artist because of a situation or actions that he did in the past that he seemingly atoned for.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because I have this conversation with my friends a lot, like, at what point when someone apologizes and then to a certain degree changes their behavior, do you forgive them?
Right.
And it's like, I'm not asking people to forgive Chris Brown, but it's like, it's been how many years? And I love Rihanna, but it seems like she's made her peace. Yeah. And I mean, he's made his peace, and we keep dragging him down specifically the Rihanna train.
Yeah.
And I think that argument is tired and played, not discounting domestic violence,
right?
Because I think that is a very serious issue. Yeah. But at some point, it's like people are selective and they're going to pick and choose. Like the same people who are dragging Chris Brown because of the song he did with Chloe are the same people who are listening to Future and Brent Faiyaz and Kodak Black.
Not wrong.
And all the men who make somewhat misogynistic music. You're still supporting these people. But for some reason, I think people just don't like Chris Brown right now. They're not fucking with Chris Brown right now.
Someone made a point that, like, if Rihanna wasn't one of the biggest pop stars, would people care about what Chris Brown did?
Now, that is a good question, because there have been other situations where he's been accused of putting his hands on a woman, and those things are not as talked about as the situation with him and Rihanna.
Yeah, bro, I remember it was like fall 2016. I was in college. He, like, he was like arrested for something, made bail, and then dropped a fire song, and everyone was hyped for the song.
Yeah.
Like completely ignored the fact he was arrested for something. It's just like at the end of the day, he's continued to make good enough music to where like a section of the community will always fuck with him and will overlook whatever he does. And I mean, that goes for a lot of artists.
Right.
As long as you make good music, niggas will not cancel you. Like, that's just what is. R. Kelly really got to a point where it's like, nah, we can't ignore this shit anymore.
We had to pack R. Kelly up.
And for some people, Tory Lanez is another example. Like, he dropped all those albums.
That's such a sad story because I can't fuck with Tory no more.
Yeah, I don't.
I can't fuck with Tory no more. Yeah, I used to love him.
I was a fan too.
I loved Tory Lanez. Yeah. And then he made himself corny by doing corny shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, once I see you as and I think that's really what decides it for me. Like, once I see you as a corny nigga, as like an artist, I can't uncorn you. Yeah. And then I really can't listen to your music the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I just feel like at this point, like, trying to make people, like, I stopped listening to Tory in 2020, for example. Like, right when the news came out, I was like, I don't feel right supporting this until he's found guilty or not guilty. For everyone else is like, oh, I'm still listening. I still rock with him. Tory's nice, great. And I just let people do that. Like,
yeah.
That's what I think we need to do as a music community at this point, is stop trying to force other people to feel how you feel. Like, just if the niggas want to listen, if their moral compass is different from yours,
right,
let it be. That don't really affect me. If you still want to listen to Tory, R. Kelly, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And so I think with this Chris Brown thing, especially, like, because it gets to a disingenuous point where like the people who don't like him will be like, yo, he's not even that talented. And it's like
no, he is talented.
You're lying.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
He is talented.
Like, two things can exist. He could be a shitty person and be
a
nice
talented,
as fuck at what he does.
Yeah, that is true.
That's just what it is. So like, that's what I hate the most, is like when people get really disingenuous with the discourse. So I'm not defending Chris Brown.
No.
I'm not condoning anything that he's done, but I just think like, why I care so much about somebody else's opinion? Like, why you want to change other people's minds so much? Like, just let the shit go.
And then what are you doing outside of social media?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, if you truly care about the issue and the topic, like, what else are you doing for the cause other than going on Twitter and ranting and saying that he's trash?
It's a lot of timeline activists.
It's like, but what, do you care beyond the 15 minutes that you're on Instagram looking? Like, do you actually care? I think that's my real problem with, like, all these things. Like, a lot of these people don't actually care.
At all.
They care on social media and then they'll go on with their day.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you really care, then do something about it.
Yeah, simple as that. But you know, this is an era where people have to present themselves as this high moral person on Twitter for other people that they support. It's a lot of niggas who don't care about what people think about them, who do shit to make people think a certain way about them.
Yeah,
it's real funny about this era we're in. real funny about y'all. Real funny. But anywho, let's get into some tunes.